Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline is the head coach at App State. The football season's right around the corner. Camps are in session. He is Shawn Clark with the Mountaineers. Coach, how are you?
Doing great. Appreciate you guys having me on.
So you what, 5 days into camp right now and of practice. I am curious, it's been enough time for the kids who have been playing EA Sports College Football 25. Have you had any player come up to you and ask you or tell you, hey, coach, look, like has Joey Aguilar come up and be like, look, I'm just saying this play works every single time in the game. Let's run this. Has that happened yet?
It has, and there's a couple of plays on that game that's very similar to what we run.
Okay.
So if we would just call it, Y cross, I mean, it would be the play. So, but yeah, that's a great. I'm excited for our players to have that game. There's a lot of players that had their feelings hurt when their ranking came out, or their team speed, or how fast they were. So that's always used in practice. When someone drops the ball, I say, hell, you're a 62 ranked on the EA Sports. So what do you expect?
I've got great news, Coach. I was going through my dynasty last night, and they have scrolls from out-of-town scores. App State knocked off Clemson in week 3 on mine. So I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just telling you, EA Sports thinks it's a deal. They're calling their shot. So
we should just cancel the game and just call it a day.
Hey, on Giglio's NCAA sim, we won this game. So if we can just mark that one down for us, I'd be appreciative.
Yeah, we call it the game. I can go to the lake that weekend.
Perfect. In other seasons, you would have these great out of conference tests, and you have more this year. And God bless you and thank you, because you have the only interesting schedule in the state of North Carolina. So I say that from the bottom of my heart. I say thank you. In years past, you got to run this table. You got to hope Alabama loses 5 times and Georgia loses 8 times, and maybe the committee, you have a friendly voice on the committee, maybe you get in. But now, if you're the highest ranked Group of 5 champion, you have a spot in the college football playoff coming off your 9-win season. That your team has to have a lot of juice coming into this year with the opportunity that's in front of you.
Without question. And we talked about it as a program, talked to our players about it. And we're not going to hide from the fact that that's one of our goals, to make the college football playoff. But in saying that, you have to play well early. You have to be able to have some big wins. You have to do well in your conference. But our kids are excited about it. It gives you a true pathway to play in the big dance, and those are going to be our goals. We have high goals here, high expectations, and we don't run from that.
Did you ever put Brett Strelo in charge of scenarios? Okay, Brett, what has to happen for us to get into the playoff? The old 4-team model. There has to be a diphtheria outbreak in Athens, and all this other stuff.
Brett is the king of the Excel spreadsheet, so he has scenarios.
He can do that.
It's you call him Brett, we call him Streezy around here. Yeah, so he's got a little nickname now. So no, but that's like the old FCS days. If this happens, that happens. But we're going to control what we can control. I really like our football team this year. Our kids are excited to play, and I know we have a lot of team speed, and our guys are excited for the 2024 season.
Speaking of things that you want to control, there's only so much control you can have in your scheduling. You guys try to schedule aggressively. That's been the history of App State. You want to continue that, obviously. You've got some great history that comes along with knocking off teams that way. But earlier this summer, late spring, there was some legislation that went in that was trying to make sure that teams like NC State and Carolina would play other teams in the state of North Carolina, including yours. It seems to have kind of gone away. Maybe my understanding is, politically there were some concessions, or it was heard. We'll go forward from that. But what did you think? We haven't had a chance to talk to you since that came out. We'd actually talked to the General Assembly member who brought that bill to the front. What were your thoughts on that being kind of baked into how football is played in the state?
Well, I'm a big advocate of playing in-state games. I really think you should keep the money in-state. I think it's great for our fans of the great state of North Carolina. It's great for college football. If you look around the dynamics of football now, you have teams going from the East Coast to the West Coast to play a game, and where we could just drive 3 or 4 hours down the road and play in front of a sold-out crowd. And again, we want to continue to do those. I understand, and I'm sure this is where it's going to, is the NC State game that was canceled. But I have a lot of respect for Dave. He's one of my best friends in the coaching profession, and he has to do what's best, what he thinks is best for his program, and I have to do what's best for our program. So hopefully we can get that back on the schedule soon, because I think it's great for everyone in the state of North Carolina.
That was a super duper coach answer.
I'm
not ready for that.
That sounds like a General Assembly kind of answer. Very, very, very even right there.
Yeah, we haven't talked. Like, we're welcoming here. We're in downtown Raleigh. Like, we're state grads. We're totally welcoming to you. We like you. We don't even have a kid who goes to App State. We just like you.
There might be one,
but this is the last time we've talked to you. I'm going to clean up my language because I'm sober today and my kids are right here. Mac Brown has a football game. Mac Brown, former App State coach, goes, yeah, we're never playing them again on the field. Like, okay. And now NC State, Dave Doran, whose son graduated from App State, goes, yeah, man, sorry, we're not playing. You're like, you got to take that shit a little bit personally, no?
Well, it's unfortunate. And if Dave wasn't such a great friend, it would probably sting a lot more. But I do get it. I mean, listen, their goal is to make the playoffs championship also, and that's one of their goals. And they feel it's best to go play a Power 4 team on the road at Virginia or wherever that game may be, and that's their right if they want to. But I do want to get to a point in the future that we can play these games. Why would we travel all the way to California to Stanford to play a game? Or if for us, we played New Mexico State and Idaho early on the Sun Belt. And there was probably 3,000 fans in the stands. And now you play these games at North Carolina. It was sold out. All three places were sold out. Yeah. We played Wake Forest here in Boone. It was sold out. If we go to Wake, it's sold out. I would love to have Duke on the schedule. I give a lot of credit to East Carolina for playing us in a 3-game series. Coach Houston has a great program down there. And all 3 games, well, the game in Bank of America had a great crowd there on Thursday night. We come here to Boone, one of the all-time records at App State. I'm sure we're going to have a great crowd there in Greenville. So, again, I'm a big advocate for it. I hope we can get to the point we do that because, we're wasting money traveling from coast to coast just to play a football game.
Shawn Clark, App State coach, joining us here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Coach, I don't know if you know this, but you could sell your car to the Heister Automotive Group. Your fans here, the App State fans here in the Triangle know this. So check them out at heisterauto.com. Coach, last year I asked you, how did you find this Joey Aguilar from Diablo Valley Community College? What a great find. That's how App State makes their bones, man. You find a guy like Joey Aguilar, but you had a different challenge this offseason because with NIL and the portal, I'm sure, just like last year when we talked to Riley Leonard, a lot of people were knocking on Joey Aguilar's door saying, hey, man, you want to be, let's just pick an SEC team. You want to be Auburn's quarterback this year? You want to be Ole Miss's quarterback? You want to be, you name it. I'm sure he had a lot of suitors. So how were you able to hang on to Joey this offseason?
Well, again, let's go back to how we found Joey first. It was in California, and Coach Ponce, who was the quarterback coach at Miami at the time, I called him. I said, we're looking for a quarterback late in the recruiting process. And he gave me a name and watched his tape a few times. I said, this kid's pretty good. So we sent the OC at the time to California to watch him work out, and he was a take for us. And then you fast forward, Coach Barbay goes to Mississippi State. Coach Ponce comes back to App. It was a natural fit. And that was right in the transition from a few other schools. He visited us. We offered him the scholarship. He committed. So we're very fortunate to have him on our team. But mentioned to your second question, there were a lot of suitors coming after him this year with a lot of zeros behind it. And to Joey's credit, he comes from a great family. They understand about loyalty and what it means to finish what you say you're going to do. And Joey has unfinished business here. He wants to win a championship with this team. He loves this team. He loves Boone, North Carolina. And again, we're fortunate we have him in our football team.
Do you feel like you've got a little bit more continuity? I mean, not just at the quarterback position, but just a little bit more continuity with all the things that are going on with NIL and the transfer portal and everything else to have that key piece back to go with whatever else you got coming back offensively.
Yes, we do. This is the first time since I've been the head coach we've had our offensive coordinator 2 years in a row. And we are one of 25 schools in the country that return their head coach, both coordinators, and starting quarterback. So anytime you have that continuity like that, it gives you a chance to really jump on your program per se, as far as you can really – you're not holding back, teaching a whole new offense or a different quarterback or a new coordinator. You can really expand on what you've done, and we've done that through the offseason.
Speaking of the offseason, you mentioned the lake. That you want to get back to the lake. I'm assuming there was a lake that you were spending some time with at this summer that you'd like to get back to one last time. Am I reading too much into that?
It's too late for that.
Is it too late?
You're not. It's not too late. It's never too late for the lake. But
good.
We were very fortunate. We have a houseboat at Watauga Lake, and it's just a place to get away. And what I found out this year is I have a 15-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son. was a thing called high school workouts and travel balls and middle school football. So that boat was only used about 7 times this summer. So something has to give. They got to quit sports. Or I give up the houseboat.
Man, yeah, that's I feel you on that one with a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. The 13-year-old who plays travel hockey, I found out real quick that the window of time we have for a trip was about June, and that was about it before he wanted to get back on the rink. And now that he's getting into a stage where they're going to be hitting, they're going to be checking at his age level. He was like, heck, he was asking me yesterday, can we get back to the gym? Can we get back to the gym? I'm like, okay, I got other things to do, man. But yes, we'll try to find some more time. So that's a tough balance. You got those kids that you got to worry about travel wise, and you got your kids on campus you got to worry about and getting them up. So that's not a lot of time.
There's not much time. My wife's a full-time Uber driver, and we put thousands of miles on our cars. So you never want your kids to grow up too fast, but I can't wait till they get 16.
Yeah. That's not always a given. As a 16-year-old, I'm struggling to get his hours up, man. Struggling to get his hours up, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Coach, I'm not going to lie to you. Doing our little homework here before, I thought Liberty was a conference opponent because the Sun Belt really is strong. And, you've talked before about how the depth of your league, it really is impressive. The cockamamie rule where James Madison wasn't eligible last year, are they finally eligible to compete, or are we going to have another one of those conversations this year?
No, JMU is this is their second year in the conference. They're ready for bowl eligibility and conference championships. So
okay,
that's good.
When you look at your side, I mean, not only because you had mentioned, you got to New Mexico and some other places, but your side, Coastal, ODU, Marshall, JMU, that actually gives you some regional juice, some regional foes. I mean, that has to help not only recruiting, but also I know your fan base will be there for a funeral, but they'll show up for certainly interesting games like this.
Well, yes, we will. And you go back to our conference within a 5-hour radius, our fans could be to any of our non-conference games from Boone, North Carolina. And I give a lot of credit to our Commissioner Gill, but Doug Gillen had a lot to do with that. He was very involved with, App was a centerpiece of the Eastern Division. And again, it's a great conference. Every week is just a grind. We can win every week, you can lose every week. And you look at the rivals just we have. You go back to the 90s, and the Marshall App State were in the Southern Conference. Georgia Southern, whoever won those games usually won the Southern Conference. And you pull out great teams like Old Dominion now, James Madison. They've had some big wins in their program, and the list goes on and on. The Coastal Carolina has become a big game around here. So those are fun games to play in. I'm glad we have those games because, again, we're selling out stadiums. We're like 115% capacity in our stadium right now, and that's what you want to use in recruiting. You bring recruits on campus for these electric atmospheres. In my opinion, the best fans in college football is right here in Boone, North Carolina.
Let me apologize to the sons of Yosef because I should have mentioned Georgia Southern on your side of the river there. I know that's an actual rivalry there. I don't need I have App State friends. I don't need them getting mad at me, Coach. You know what I mean? I don't need that in my life. So I just need to put that out there for you.
I appreciate you doing that. Our fan base is pretty rough, as you well know.
we have an interesting relationship, but we're growing.
I think there's an understanding, and I'm sure they'll love it. That I'm going to ask you for a Grayson McCall scouting report. I mean, you saw Grayson, right?
I saw him. I recruited Grayson when I was when I was an assistant coach at App. I recruited that area.
Yes.
And I had Grayson on campus 3 times, and I was begging for us to take him here at App State.
Yeah.
Then we had the coaching transition from Satterfield to Drinkowitz, and Drink had his guy he wanted to bring in, and I was fighting for Grayson. I think Grayson's an unbelievable quarterback. I mean, he is so competitive. He's got a nice touch on the ball, and again, he can really run. When the things break down, he runs, and he's a winner. And I have nothing but great things to say about Grace, even though he's beat us a few times. And but again, you have to call it what it is, and that's true respect. And I expect big things, and I'll be a Grace McCall fan this year.
Yeah, they were running hot at Coastal Carolina there. And I know some injury issues have kind of sidelined him, but the people are very high on him going into the season for the Wolfpack. I was going to say you're friends with Dave, so I would imagine you've talked about Grayson McCall with Doran.
A little bit, Dave. He has his own way of doing things, but I was happy that Grayson went to NC State. It's a great fit for him. Dave runs a very similar program of how we do things in the mountain, the build on toughness and the grit, and I think that's going to be a great fit for both sides.
So much corporate synergy between State and App. I mean, there's even Murphy Centers, for heaven's sake, right? So
that's right.
Anyway. And yet
actually dovetails into my question to you. Like, this is going to be full-time now, year 5. Does it feel like it? I mean, I feel like it was yesterday. Drink was off to Missouri.
Yeah.
It feels like year 10, to be honest with you.
Well, you've had a lot happen.
There's been a lot. Every year has been. I'm probably the only head coach in America that's every year has something crazy happen in the world throughout the NILs, to the transfer portals, and we've been able to withstand that. And as crazy as this may seem, I'm the longest tenured head coach in the Sun Belt, and that's going on 5 years.
You're going into year 5.
Going to year 5, and so they call me the mayor of the Sun Belt, or Sun Belt meetings, because again, this conference is tough. And if you don't win, you're not here. If you win, you're usually gone. So it's one of those situations. But I'm happy where I'm at. I love this place. I hope to retire here one day, and then I can sit in the stands and get on Twitter and complain about the coaches and have relax a little bit
from the lake, from the houseboat.
That's actually one of my favorite things Dave has ever said to me. So I'll give you a quick great moments in Joe and Dave history. It was like 15 or 16. They had a procedural penalty coach where the receiver, the tight end, was covered and went out on a route, and they got flagged on the play. The drive stalled. They ended up losing the game. And it was one of the Boston College games. And so like I gave it like a good full 2 weeks before I gave him a hard time about it. And it was after practice one day, and I said, hey, did you guys go over like procedurals and how to line up and some of that stuff? And he was like, he looks at me and he goes, you really are a smart ass, aren't you? And I said, yeah, you didn't figure that out. He goes, I can't wait to retire at 55 and work at a bait shop and get on Twitter and just start criticizing things that you do. And I was like, that's fair.
That's fair. He'll be in the YouTube comment section.
There we go.
It's got to go both ways, And Dave's a straight shooter. You have to make sure he's a straight. You know exactly where you stand with Dave when you talk to Dave.
That is fair. That is fair. App State coach Shawn Clark, we appreciate the time as always. I'm sure we will check in the middle of the season. And again,
good luck, man.
The Clemson game's already called.
Just put it
it's already called, so we're good.
That's right. I appreciate it, guys. What you guys come up for a game this season?
Yeah, you know what? I think we're I know
we got the roadcaster on the road, man. We could do this.
Watching.
Don't challenge us.
We're gonna have to look at the schedule. We might have to come up there.
I might need a cathartic win over Liberty, and you ruin their parade. I would enjoy that, actually.
We just got to make sure we can get you to come down to one of the breweries while we're doing a show.
Well, I'm in for that. The R&D Brewery is one of our favorites, Mountain Brew.
There we go.
The Mountain Brew.
Now we're talking. All right, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.